So how do we know it's going to work, right? That's what you asked. All right, let's just call this blackhead or blackheads, okay? I got blackheads, and this is no blackheads. Okay. So what we know, here's just one example, is that we know there is salicylic acid that can help with blackheads.
Salicylic acid.
There's glycolic acid. There is benzoyl peroxide. And then there is, let's just put these three for now. So we know that salicylic acid, it takes like, we're going to give it 3 weeks. 3 weeks and 3 weeks. And we should see some results. So this is what we call a pseudo likelihood. This is called a pseudo likelihood. It's like, yeah, so like what you do is you start with like what is an imagined projection, and then you say, like, and this is just one example of how to do it. So you can say, we think it's going to be 3 weeks, we think it's going to be 3 weeks, we think it's going to be 3 weeks, and this is what like research shows, okay? And then what we do is we wait for the 3 weeks, and then we say, let's take a picture and see if this looks like this. But it kind of doesn't. And we put you at salicylic acid. Let's just say it didn't work, okay? So it did not work. And we're like, yikes, this did not work. So what we do is we make a note and we say, we're gonna mark this down and we're gonna reroute you. And if we keep seeing that this does not work, this keeps going down. And then we create like a score, and the score basically says that this is not likely to work for salicylic acid, and then we take all these people and then we bring them to glycolic or bring them to benzoyl peroxide. And so what ends up happening is, let's pretend we realize after 3 weeks that glycolic works, and we keep seeing this result with this. So then this starts to score higher. And so this goes down, this goes up, and we then start to default blackheads to glycolic. But when we have a new person coming in and they're saying like, hey, we say, nope, no salicylic for you, only glycolic, because we know that the weights have told us this works for blackheads. And so there's many ways to figure out what things work for what. And really what we end up doing is then there's this thing called pseudo likelihood versus reality. So then this brings up a new problem, right? So, and this is where a lot of people spend their time, is that there's a pseudo likelihood and then there is a reality. So really what you're trying to figure out is what happens if it wasn't actually the ingredient. Maybe it wasn't glycolic acid. Maybe the weather just got better, right? Like, what if it was just it was humid and now it's not humid? So basically, what I'm trying to explain is that there's a lot to unpack and that there's not really a shortcut around it. A lot of data scientists and a lot of engineers and a lot of people in AI will spend their time trying to understand this. And this is like, was it the glycolic acid? Was it the weather? Did you just go to like a bad sauna? And like, there's just so many reasons. But
it sounds like a lot of different things can affect a lot of different things.
Which is sort of going back to this whole Rubik's Cube idea, is the only way you can even get to this question is if everything is accurately labeled and that you understand that all the methods are structured like how they actually should be, so that you can start getting into these like nitty-gritty questions of like, maybe it's never been glycolic acid. We realized that it's a moisturizer that's actually not in our product line.